Hi, my name is Matthew Trueman. I'm a housing services manager for 13. So I manage a team of approximately 50 people. I think for me, the thing I like most about the program is finding out things that I think sometimes people will join the program because they think that they know quite a few of the things already. You know, Outlook, for example, we've been using it for years, and I would have thought I knew nearly everything there was to know about Outlook. And then you attend a session and realize that there's loads of things that you've never used before, loads of things that would make things a heck of a lot easier. And then you can go off and share that with people as well, which makes you look really clever to them. There's been quite a few things that we've been doing through Microsoft 365. In particular, making use of things like Power Automate, SharePoint, and Forms. So a lot of, if you look at the way that we did things historically, a lot of it was paper-based. That really doesn't lend itself well to an organisation that is very conscious about data security, especially when we're not just in an office, we're out and about. So it's really important for data security and confidentiality that we're keeping that information safe and secure. And one of the ways that we've been able to do that is digitally through Microsoft 365. So making use of Microsoft Forms to input information whilst out and about instead of using a piece of paper. But actually the time that comes from that being saved as well. So somebody would have to handwrite information down on a piece of paper that someone had to design and print off. They'd had to drive somewhere to collect it. That information then gets received by a colleague, probably in the form of an image, and they would have to read that information, interpret the handwriting in some cases, and then manually type that information into a system somewhere. And through using Microsoft Forms combined with Power Automate, linking that information on SharePoint as well so that people can find it really easily. What we've been able to do is get people to input at the source, so wherever they are, whether they're in a property, out in the field, dealing directly with somebody or working from home, and then that information is transferred digitally to the people who need to see it. So in terms of time saving for people, in terms of convenience and in terms of data security, I think that element has been quite transformative for us. And I can see, so the more we go through the program and the more of my own sort of research I do on the you know the resources that are provided here and elsewhere, you can see just so much more potential to be able to change processes and adapt things for the future. So I'm really quite excited about that sort of stuff. But in terms of the processes that we've got here, I think time saving, convenience, data security, usability, is being really, really fantastic. If I observe something that's happening and think we could do that better, even if that's just simple things like people struggling to mute and unmute themselves, for example, or the way that we're capturing the notes from the meeting, it's just about promoting that. So rather than just a dedicated session, sometimes it's about if you see something, you know, say it at the time and just show people. Did you know if you press this, you can actually mute yourself really quickly, that type of thing. But also we you know, have run dedicated sessions, so I have been able to show colleagues how to use forms, for example, to be able to create their own way of gathering information as quickly as possible without involving pen and paper and risk to data, or how to use Power BI. We're a very performance focused organization, and we have a lot of data, and sometimes that data can be difficult to interpret. But in Power BI, we have a team of specialists who look after that app for us in the organization. And then we'll be given those dashboards, we call them internally, where we can go and review that information. But if you're not familiar with Power BI and how to use it, sometimes it can feel difficult to navigate. So it's about helping people navigate that information and help themselves. My favorite Microsoft 365 app, I think, would be SharePoint. Um, and it's probably a bit of a cop out as I say that answer as well, because one of the reasons why I like SharePoint is because you can bring so many different Microsoft apps together in one place and do things with them. So it's not just the SharePoint app itself, but it's how it links into other things. I think one of the really cool things about Microsoft 365, and I'm sure if somebody at Microsoft was listening to this, they'd probably tell me that how much I don't appreciate what they do. But for me as a user, all I see is text on a screen. in this app or in that app. And I know that there's a lot more goes into that in the background because of the different functions, but actually for the majority of users, we're fairly ignorant of the inner workings of these amazing apps that we get. And what we see is text on a screen. And what I like about SharePoint 365 is it allows us to unify all that information into one place and transfer information between apps and link key apps together so that it's not just a place to go and look for information, but it's a place that you can actually go and do things and be productive as well. It's not like the old days when perhaps it started off as just a storage facility. It's so much more than that now. So I think for me, definitely SharePoint in terms of the productivity, the ability to bring those apps together and do lots of things with them, which is probably a really, really cheeky answer of saying I like all of Microsoft 365, but if I was definitely going to pick one, it would have to be SharePoint because I get all the others with it.